Hello guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share to Elsa's life story. And I am Elsa. And here on this channel is where I speak my life from childhood until this current moment. So share, subscribe, like, and if you can, comment. It's fine. Now, I just want to tell you guys, because you guys know prior that my son went through hallucination. And that was his first time being awakened. And when I say awakened, going through a spiritual shock when it comes to his life. He never went through hallucination in his life. And to me, I call it, because I'm fully aware, not just about the physical, but about the spiritual, that he was under a spiritual attack. Now, my son does excellent music. He's also a creator. He's an artist in so many ways. And, you know, whether it was evil eye and as well as spiritual attacks against me and my son. Yeah. My son basically, when he went through the hallucination, he was basically acting pretty strange. He wasn't acting like himself. I remember taking a picture of my son and his pupils being an image of somebody else. A weird spirit that I never even seen that was trying to just kill my son. And it was in I could see it in the pupils. And I spoke to that, my son's pupils, I spoke to that entity that was inside of my son. And I told him, I say, listen, my son started laughing. It was basically whatever was driving him nuts. I say, listen, you think you're gonna take my son? You're weak. You need to get out my son. I plead the blood of Jesus over my son. I say, and you have no victory here. You can get out of my son. My son say, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, I know. So the more I kept speaking to my son, his pupils got bigger and bigger. It was very stressful, because my in-laws, they thought it was a funny joke, and they left me by myself and my two babies and my 15-year-old, at the time he was 15, to do it all by myself. Now my son kept, bathing every 5 minutes, and I remember going through the same thing. That's why I had to get, that's why I've been through the same scary situations. My son bathes himself by 5, 10, 20 times every 5 seconds. He even would go outside while we were asleep. He would pour water on me while we were asleep. It was even one time that my son was standing over me with a knife. Whatever that spirit was, and whoever sent that spirit wanted my son to kill me. It got real deep. Again, it's not all about physical. You can't take it with you. We're living in a spiritual world. And by the second, it's always a spiritual warfare. So you have to know how to protect yourself by all means. Again, I plead the blood of Jesus by all means. Okay? Amen, Ashe. Back to what I was saying. So, my son was basically bathing himself every 5 seconds, pouring water on me and his brothers, grabbing my baby was 6 months at the time. He was grabbing his baby brother, and he would try to grab him and sling him. And whatever assignment that spirit sent to my son basically wanted him to kill everybody in the house. It wasn't successful because, of course, he has a praying mother. I mean, heavy on it. I mean, ascended master, like literally like heavy on protection. with or without. I mean, heavy on it. You know, and I'm not saying it's a walk in the park, but heavy on protection. You know, and I'm going to say heavy on protection again. Now, you know, when my son, first of all, I would not blame everything on my ex-husband. I would not blame everything on me. I would not blame everything on Junior. Because it was once upon a time that my whole marriage was under attack. My whole household was under attack. And I was the only one that would fast, that would save my household and do what I have to do spiritually. But I also know that there are secret enemies, secret attackers, and a lot of them was involved in family. And a lot of them wasn't. A lot of them was involving competitors in the music game and all other stuff of that sort. People that don't want to see you be successful. You know how that go. Things that happen in the physical also happens in the spiritual. But let's continue. So my son, he was hallucinating, and he was like pouring water on everybody, jumping out of the window butt naked, and not acting like himself. And I'm like, what is this? So he would get on the hoverboard and head towards 135th and 27th with no shirt on, hallucinating, and a car or an 18-wheeler can smack my son and kill him. Now, the spirit that entered into my son can easily be released and go to his next victim. But I kept going after my child, and I kept shielding my child. I wound up getting my son in this Baker Act program to get him some help, because my mom lived 3 blocks away, and she always laughed at our situation in our face, and she would close the door on my son. And she would laugh because my son would do the same thing that I once did, and when he was hallucinating, he was dressing, cross-dressing and stuff like that, and having on 2 left shoes and stuff like that. Not like himself at all. And she would laugh and say, what the hell does he have on? Instead of saying, you know what, let me pray over my grandbaby. Let me rub some olive oil on him. Let me get him some help. And she thought it was a joke. So anyway, I tried to get him. He was Baker acted within, I'll say, 1 month and a half. He was Baker acted probably 6 to 8 times continuously. It was a lot for him to deal with. And nobody was there for me. I had to handle that by myself with my son. I remember I tried to take my son to the hospital, Jackson South Behavioral System, and he tried to jump out of the window on I-95 and kill himself. My baby was, again, he was about 5 or 6 months, and he was in the back seat, and it was just me and my 10-year-old. At the time, he was 9. We were just trying to hold my son tight, and the car was just rocking as I was trying to get him to get Baker acted, because he was hallucinating real bad. My son would, stand up over the bed, and before I tried to take him to the Baker Act system, he would say, "Oh my God, Mom, do you see that?" And basically at the time of him seeing that, he seen Metatron as well in the same house that I seen Metatron in the dream state. And he's like, "Oh my God, it's a third eye, Ma," and this and that, And I was also told that a little bit before we moved in that house, someone died in that house on 2556 Superior Street in Opelika, Florida. So again, it was a lot of weird energy sometimes when it came to that duplex. But let's continue with my child. I was totally scared. Every time I would get him out of the Baker Act unit, he would continuously get worse because of the side effects of the medication did not connect with him genetically. And he would have so many allergic reactions. And it was very, very stressful and sad. Like, I even got so fearful and I got so scared that I wound up taken him to two babalaos, and that's the African tradition. And two babalaos, they were two Cuban guys. And when I took him, my son was not acting like himself, and he was just very, very stressful. I tried to call my church. Nobody at my church at Peaceful Zion or anywhere came to my house to pray for my son and help us. So I immediately took him to the babalaos. And the babalaos looked at my son. They did a consultation. And they told me, they say, you and your ex-husband, or you and the parents, you guys need to look after your son because he's very, very sick. Say that your son is headed to destruction, and say that it's very important because if anything happens to your son, you and the parent, you as the parent, is held reliable. He say because your son could die. So it's very important for you guys and you to protect your son and make sure you point him in the right direction. Say, so he took my son in the back. He prayed for my son, and he gave my son a spiritual bath.